Greetings all and welcome back to WoW-To. This is Trendane here with segment 3. Now, if you've missed the first two segments, just go ahead and click on the little annotation at the top of the screen. It'll take you back. You can select one or two, whichever one you missed, or both. That's fine. I don't mind. Go ahead and do that and just come right back on here whenever you get yourself ready to go, and we will cover this. Now, in segment 2, what we're going to learn is how to literally interact with the entire game world. Now, we've discussed a lot of things like selecting characters. Now, if you left click on this guy, it selects him, and you see his portrait up here and what his level is. However, if you right click on him, it triggers whatever the default action is for that particular character type. For example, this guy is a quest giver, so if you right click on him, it automatically opens up the quest that he has for you. Now you know that he has a quest for you because he will have this golden exclamation point above his head, and once the quest window opens over here, you can read all of the text of it, and down here it lists what the quest objectives are. And if you've got it set to track them, it'll also list over here what the different quests are and what your objectives are. You can also scroll down. It'll show you what the different rewards are that you'll be able to choose and the experience that you will receive for completing that quest. Now, as you look up here, there's also Chief Hawkwind has a slightly, it's a little bit more pale. It's not quite as shiny yellow as the one that Grull Hawkwind had. And if you turn to face that direction, you can see he's over there inside that hut. Now, the reason that it's kind of pale on the mini-map is because he's inside a building. That's why it lists that. If you're inside a building or they're underground, that'll be your indication. So we come in here, right-click on him, and it takes the objective. Now, he wants you to go and find his mother near the water well southeast of the camp. Now, if you look around, you see there aren't any other quests available. There's my druid trainer, who is right in that little hut with the shaman trainer, but no quests specific to take. So we have to head out here, and let's find some plain striders, which are these big ostrich looking guys. Now, right here, there you go. If you right click on him, you see normally if you just left click, you'll see that his name is in yellow and the selection circle is yellow, which means that he's neutral. But you see the sword is what your mouse cursor turns into. That means that right clicking will by default enter combat. And you see here that this thing turns red and you got the cross swords. That means you are in combat mode. Now if you watch down here, you see this number 1 turns red. That means you are out of range and you can't use that spell. So get close enough, hit 1, and if you watch it, when you cast it, you see how it kind of goes gray and then it slowly fills in. That's its cooldown timer. And so a lot of people will sit there when they're first learning how to play the game and they just frantically, spam the button and click it as fast as they can. You're not doing any good. Just click it. When it refreshes, click it again if you have to. Now you see here, you mouse over, you got these little sparklies, and you get the one bag logo. That means that everything is set to standard loot. If you right click, it opens up the loot window and you see all the various stuff that you can pick up. But you have to pick them up one by one by one by clicking on them. Now if you go off and let's say we kill this guy, let's go ahead and take him out, and I'll show you what happens if you set it to auto loot, which if you're in a party can be not necessarily dangerous, but it could be considered rude, especially if the loot is on free for all. Now you see you got the sparklies. Now if you hold down shift, you see it turns into multiple little bags. If you right click now, it opens the loot window, takes everything automatically, and you're done. Now you can also set this, if you hit escape, open up your options, go into interface, and at the bottom of the controls section you see auto loot, and you can turn that on right there. Now you don't have to hold the shift key if you don't want to. It'll just automatically grab everything out of the loot bag. So we go ahead and I'll run around and speed this video up so that you can see what happens when you're running around killing stuff. And what I'll do is I'll stop right before I either completely level up to level 2 or right before I do a quest turn-in. Okay, so there we are. We now have 7 of 7 of all of this, and the hunt begins. Says to return to the village and go to Grull Hawkwind. But remember, we have this other quest that said to go and find his mother near the water well. Well, there it is. So if we run down here, now you can see this golden quest turn-in thing is starting to appear. Now, this is one reason why I like to keep my minimap zoomed way out, so I have the widest field of vision possible. And there she is. There's Great Mother Hawkwind. So we come over to her, and we right-click, because as you can see, the default right-click is to turn in the quest. And she gets all bashful because she's so embarrassed. Well, she's not embarrassed, but you know, she's, yeah, anyway. Whoa, there we go. Okay, there's level 2. We just, this thing filled up completely purple and everything's fine. Now we're a full bar into the next level, and she's got a return quest for us, which is to grab one of these water jugs and take it back to the village. So we come over here. We get the little golden gear, which indicates that the right-click default is to pick up whatever it is, in this case the water pitcher. It goes right into the bag. And of course, as I mentioned before, you can tell that quest items have this golden or yellow border around them. Things which are not quest items, item quality is basically what you would call them. Items with their names in gray, they're just vendor food. Just toss them into a vendor as soon as you can, unless they're beneficial for you. Now, how do you know if they are? I mean, for example, we've got these cloth bracers for your wrist, and we've got this cloak. Even though their names are in gray, they still might be useful. So what happens then? Well, the only way you can know is you have to do an item comparison. Now, it's actually pretty easy to do that. Just put your mouse over whatever it is and hold down the shift key, and it will compare against what you're currently wearing in that particular section. Now, you can see I'm holding down the shift key. Well, you can't see it, but you know, trust me, I'm holding down the shift key and it's not doing anything. That's because if you look at your character sheet, you don't have anything on your back. You're not wearing a cloak. So if you right-click it, the default is to equip it. And there it goes. There it is now, right there on the thing. So that gives you an extra 8 armor. But what about these wrist bracers? You know, if you hold down the shift key, again, nothing. And, you know, they're cloth, but that's still 9 points of armor more than you have right now. Ideally, for this particular character class, you would want leather, but this is still better than nothing. So you right-click it, it puts the things on your wrist, and you can see it on your character here and there. And hopefully, when you get something better, you'll be able to, you know, upgrade. Now, here you've got all the quest stuff, so you go ahead and turn it in, and you have these 2 quest rewards. And you have this leather belt, which is really, really nice. And if you hold down the shift key to compare it to the belt you're currently wearing, you're not wearing a belt. So that is definitely really, really good and really useful. But what about the other one? It's, you know, it's clearly in red, and as you can see in its little pop-up description there, the word mail is in red. And the problem is that druids cannot wear chainmail. So if it's something that you cannot use, the only benefit that it has is however much you can sell it for. In this particular case, 7 copper if you were to sell it to a vendor. Now this would be 6 copper, which isn't as much, but we can actually use this, so that's the one we actually want to go with. But, you know, keep an eye on it. If it's something that you can't use, definitely make sure you pick the most expensive one so that you can make the most amount of money. So here we have our thing. You see there under its name, Nomadic Belt, where it says Soulbound. That means that you are the only person who can wear it. You can sell it to a vendor, but you can't sell it to another player. So we'll right-click it to equip it, and as you can see, he has another quest waiting for us. He actually has 2. The Verdant Note is sort of a breadcrumb quest. It's designed to take you to a specific person or place. In this particular case, when you start out with a new character, you get some quest that's designed to take you to your trainer. In this case, this guy over here. So I come over here, and I talk to him, and he's turn in the Verdant Note, and he bows to say hello. And this basically is just to inform you of where your starting trainer is. That's really all it's for. Now, I would talk to him and learn new spells, but I'm only level 2. I can't learn anything yet. So we come in here and turn in the water jug to Chief Hawkwind. He gives us the 40 copper we were promised. And he sends us on our next quest, which is to find, after the earthquake, Seer Greytongue.
Walk with the earth, mother.
So off we head out. Now, as I mentioned, we have different aspects of item quality. Here we have these two gray items that have absolutely no use to us whatsoever. They're just vendor trash. I could take it over here and sell it to that baker, who also sells probably what someone would suppose some kind of bread. She, over there, is a general goods vendor. She probably sells food and drink and maybe some kind of thrown weaponry, which sounds like a great mix. In here, however, in this particular tent, and you will always have these in the beginner starting area, you have the armor shield crafters and such, but these guys sell nothing that I can use. As you see, it's all in red. But I can repair if I need to. Now, at this point, I don't need to, but you can repair an individual item or all of the items that you currently have.
Go in peace.
Then there's a weaponsmith who sells various kinds of weapons, and he may well have something that I could use. Yeah, he's got these clubs and everything. Now, if I was a warrior, I'd be able to use these, or a hunter, or whatever else. So I could take one of those if I wanted to, but I'm not going to do that right now. Now, this young lady over here, she is a leather armor merchant. Now, we know that I can wear leather, so I can wear anything she has, so long as I have the money. That's the trick. Now, we go ahead and right-click, because the default is to sell these two things. And if you look on the buyback, let's say you accidentally sell something that you don't want to sell. You can click on the buyback tab down here, right-click it, and it'll buy it back for you. But I don't really care about the plucked feathers, so we'll just get rid of that. And we can sell it just like that again. So this is kind of, where I'm going to. There's one other thing I'm going to show you, and I mentioned that I encourage everybody to try PvP, and it can be a little bit harrowing for those who aren't ready for it, but at least try it out a little bit. And how you do that is you literally type /PvP, and boom, here's your little intro thing. And as you can see up here, I now have this horde symbol next to my portrait, and that means that I have been flagged for PvP. I can attack people of the opposite faction, and I can be attacked by people of the opposite faction. If you want to turn it off, you once again type /PvP, and it turns it off. Now you can see there's this little 5-minute timer, and as soon as that wears off, this flag will go away and everything will be fine. Now, if you happen to get attacked while you're flagged, and you don't want to get attacked again, when you're in ghost form and you run back to your corpse, and I'll show you how to do that later, run back, but don't resurrect yourself right away. Wait for that timer to run out, and then you can respawn, and you won't be able to be attacked. So that'll do it for this particular segment. When we get to the next segment, I'm going to discuss things like professions and what the various options are in that. And there's some pretty fun stuff. I kind of like doing profession stuff, so it's a nice way to make money too, so that's always good. So I'll see you folks later. One more quick little thing, everybody. I know I told you earlier in the segment that I would speed up the video so that you could watch me run around and kill stuff. Well, as you can tell, obviously I actually cut it out, because I discovered later, after I finished recording it, that I don't know how to speed up the video yet with the tools that I have. So I decided to cut it out, and as I was running around doing more quests to get myself up to the point where I could show you professions, I realized I might as well go ahead and kind of append a small section at the end to show you how things work when you get to the trainers. See, now I'm level 4, and so I can learn 2 spells. So I come to my trainer and right click, and as you can see, I can learn Healing Touch, because that became available at level 3, and I can pick up Moonfire at level 4. So you just click train like that and like that. Here's your new stuff, and if you want to find those, as you can see, they've already populated like I told you they would in this in the equipment bar. But if you want to look them up, you hit P or open your spell book down here, and you can see these two are glowing. This shows you where those spells are located. And Moonfire is my newest one, which is sort of a damage over time sort of weapon. And also we have my first healing spell, Healing Touch, which I can either cast on myself or other characters. So now what I'm going to do, now that I have this, I'm going to finish progressing to level 5 and move on to the capital city, the closest capital city, so that I can show you as many of the professions as I possibly can. And we'll do that in the next segment.